Hi, first grade readers. Last week we were talking about how characters' feelings can change from one part of the book to another part of the book as different things happen to the characters. So, this week, what we're going to do is we're going to think about what the characters are learning from these experiences. Are they learning any lessons? We're going to take a closer look at how readers learn lessons in our books. The first thing we need to do is make some predictions and think about, is this going to be a book that teaches me something? The next thing we're going to do is think about, what did the character realize or learn from what is happening in the story? Finally, we're going to look at the ending and think, how did the trouble get fixed? What did the character figure out from the situation? Now, as I get ready to read the next chapter in Mercy Watson Goes for a Ride, I'm going to think about what already happened so that I can make a prediction for the next part of the story. Mercy and Mr. Watson were about to go out for a car ride together. Knowing a little bit about Mercy already and that she always seems to find some trouble, I'm thinking there might be a problem when they go on their road trip together. Chapter 4. Eugenia Lincoln and Baby Lincoln live next door to the Watsons. Every Saturday, the Lincoln sisters watch Mercy and Mr. Watson back out of the driveway. Every Saturday, Eugenia is displeased. Mr. Watson is a very bad driver, she says. He is a menace behind the wheel. Yes, sister, says Baby. Furthermore, says Eugenia, it is my firm opinion that pigs should not be taken for rides in automobiles, particularly that pig. That pig is a sly pig. I do not trust her. No, sister, says Baby. Baby looks down the road. The car had disappeared. Mr. Watson and Mercy are gone. Folly, says Eugenia Lincoln. She shakes her fist. It is folly, I say. Yes, sister, says Baby. But secretly, Baby Lincoln thinks that a little folly wouldn't be a bad thing. Now, we learned a little bit more about our characters. We met the neighbors, Baby and Eugenia Lincoln, and also what they think about Mercy and the Watsons. I think Mr. Watson is a terrible driver and that Mercy is a sly pig and should not be trusted. This gives me some more clues about what might be happening and really helps support my prediction. We're going to continue reading to see if we can figure out what the characters realized or learned throughout the story. Chapter 5. One Saturday, Mrs. Watson made a special lunch. After lunch, Mr. Watson and Mercy went outside. Everything happened just as it always did every Saturday on Deckawoo Drive. What folly, said Eugenia Lincoln, as usual. What nonsense. She paused. Eugenia waited for Baby to say, yes, sister. But Baby said nothing. Baby said nothing because Baby was not there. Chapter 6. Officer Tomalello sat in his police cruiser. A pink convertible sped past him. Was that a pig? Officer Tomalello asked himself. Yes, it was, he answered himself. That most certainly was a pig. Is it illegal to take a pig for a ride? Officer Tomalello asked himself. I don't believe it is, he answered himself. It is unusual, he continued, but unusual does not equal illegal. However, it is illegal to speed, and that vehicle was definitely speeding. Officer Tomalello turned on his flashing lights. He pulled out onto the highway. He followed the car with the pig in it. Chapter 7. In the car with the pig in it, the pig was having a very good time. The wind was tickling her ears, the sun was warm on her snout. Even though she was not the one behind the wheel, Mercy was happy too. Mr. Watson was happy too. There's nothing like a fast drive to clear the mind, he shouted. Isn't that right, my dear? Oink, said Mercy. It is wonderful to go fast, said a voice from the back seat. Who said that? Said Mr. Watson. Me, said Baby Lincoln. Mr. Watson looked over his shoulder. Hello, Mr. Watson, said Baby. Oink, said Mercy. Hello, Mercy, said Baby. What are you doing? Shouted Mr. Watson. I am having a little adventure, said Baby. I am indulging in some folly. Folly? Said Mr. Watson. Mercy narrowed her eyes. Mr. Watson was looking over his shoulder at Baby. He was not looking at the road. Mercy saw her chance. She gathered her strength. She leaped. Help! Mr. Watson said. Help me! Woo-wee, said Baby Lincoln. What folly, what fun, what adventure. Please, said Mr. Watson, get off me. He pushed at Mercy with both hands, but Mercy did not move. She put her front hooves on the steering wheel. She was in the driver's seat, and she intended to stay there. Now, while we're not totally done with our story, I think our characters are beginning to realize some lessons here. The police car is chasing Mr. Watson's car. Baby Lincoln showed up in the car, and now Mercy is jumping into the driver's seat. A lot is happening. Stop and think about, what do you think the character realized or learned in the story right now? As a reader, I'm already thinking about the lessons that are being learned here and how it's important to think about safety, and our characters are probably thinking about that too, and that they shouldn't be going off in the car with a pig in the car, and Baby Lincoln probably shouldn't be hiding in the car either. So I'm thinking safety is probably an important lesson that this book is teaching us right now. As I get to the end of the book, I'm going to go back, look at the ending, and think about, how did the trouble in the story get fixed? What did Mr. Watson do? What did Mercy do? And even Baby Lincoln, and really think about all of my characters and how were my problems solved. I can't wait to hear all about the lessons that you're learning from your books this week and the lessons that your characters are learning too. Have fun reading this week.